Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you some more about healthy boundaries. And we did talk about this some last week, where I gave you a biblical guideline for determining boundaries about when you should step in and help someone and when you shouldn't. So hopefully you will check that out. It's how to create healthy boundaries. You should be able to find the video below, or you can check out the blog post that I wrote on my website, arenewedlife.com/blog. And just to give you a quick review of that, I talked about with Galatians 6 verses 2 through 5, that talks about what would be considered a burden, where we would come alongside someone and help them out. So things that are just too much for one person to handle on their own on an everyday, daily basis, where we, in our kindness, our love for them, that we would help them out to a degree so that they can cope. And this would be usually be on a limited basis and to a limited degree, allowing them to be able to carry the load as much as they can out of respect for them. And then those verses also talk about what the Greek refers to as a knapsack, or what we're calling a backpack. And those are everyday responsibilities that adults should be expected to take care of. That is going to include things like their own hygiene, their health, making a living, obtaining resources to be able to make a living. It also includes their taking care of our own emotions, be tracking taking care of our behaviors and our beliefs and values. And the confusion comes then, what is my responsibility in helping someone with these things? And just to make it clear, I am not an expert in this. And if boundaries comes naturally to you, that is terrific. You probably don't need this video at all. But if you get confused, then there are reasons for that, about why you get confused about what healthy boundaries are. And if you've come from a background where there was any type of addiction within the family, or there were abuses, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, if there was sexual inappropriateness, or if people were just generally rude to one another or ignored others and minimized their feelings, then those in themselves are healthy boundaries, and that was modeled to you. So that's going to make it tough for you to figure them out. And whenever you try to say no to someone, then you're going to have some problems, and that something's going to rise up within you that's kind of telling you this isn't right. I shouldn't be saying no. Or you may feel like you have a right to intrude into other people's spaces to take care of things that they themselves should be taking care of. So let me pause here just a moment. And in case you don't know me, my name is Tanya Cordenbrock, and I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor. And I am the person behind arenewedlife.com/blog. And I have a private community where I can personally help Christian women with being able to manage their emotions, to be able to move past their past, to love themselves, and to be able to step into the good that God has called them to for their lives. So moving on with looking at boundaries. First of all, when clients bring up the concept of boundaries to me, the situation is usually that someone is annoying them. They're just so frustrated with someone who keeps coming to them with things that should be in their own backpack, things that they should be taking care of. Then basically what this person is trying to do is take their backpack off and give it to you to carry. So some examples of this would be an adult child who wants you to take care of their laundry. They haven't made time for it, and they just come and dump their laundry at your door, and then they run off with their friends to have fun, and expecting you to take care of it without even asking you if that's going to work out for you. Or perhaps a daughter who continually wants you to give her gas money because she has spent all of her money on eating out instead of budgeting her money wisely. Or you could have a son who wants you to pay his electric bill because he has not developed the habit of budgeting his money. Or perhaps he's not working and really isn't even looking for work. And so those situations can be tough because they're going to tug at your emotional heartstrings. And if you've come from any type of background with abuse, neglect, or chaos, then it will be especially tough for you, and because you will feel like you are not being a good mother, or you're just not being a good Christian by not helping them. And it doesn't help at all when what usually accompanies this behavior by someone else is going to be some manipulative words. For instance, you will hear from them, well, it's not such a big deal. Why do you even care? You know, why can't you do that for me? Don't you love me? And why are you making such a big deal out of it? Or, well, you've got plenty of money. Why can't you give me some of your money? You're being awfully selfish, aren't you? Or, well, what kind of Christian are you? Oh my goodness, I love that one. Actually, I hate it when people say that. What kind of Christian are you? Because you don't do whatever it is that they think that you should do, that they don't want to do, or are refusing to manage doing in their own lives. So whenever this happens, you can be on the alert of what this tactic does is it shifts the focus to you, trying to make you feel guilty, trying to coerce you to take their backpack for them. And in shifting the focus, the real focus should be on them as to, well, why are they not following through with carrying their own backpack like they should be doing? Now, another arena with this is with boundaries that usually we don't want to look at is how we are actually reaching into someone else's backpack and trying to rearrange their lives for them and get things in order for them. And we usually have the excuse of, well, it's because I care for them that I am giving this advice, or I am explaining to them how they could live life better. And certainly there are some good intentions there, and we've probably all fallen into this from time to time. But we can be met by a push from the other person that kind of just says, get away from me, get out of my life, quit telling me what to do. And you'll know that you have some trouble with this when people are saying, you know, people in your life or loved ones are telling you, you don't accept me, or you think you know it all, and other comments along those lines. And this tends to happen, you know, if you've come from any type of background with abuse, where people have habitually stepped into the boundaries of other people and they make excuses for that. So that it's partly learned. but also I think in our culture and sometimes in our churches, we are taught that this is the loving thing to do. But there's actually more that's going on with that. And part of it is just an awareness of what is going on within you and your own anxiety about the other person's life. And when we are practicing healthy boundaries, one of the first things that we want to do is to have respect. So even with someone trying to give you their backpack and your ability to say no to this, that actually can be a way of respecting them. It's respecting yourself and your own resources, your own responsibilities, but it's also respecting them. They may not want to respect themselves, but when you let them know that, you know what, I think you can handle this. It may be tough for you, but you can figure this out and how to make life work in this arena. And you can also offer, if you would like, I can help you to figure out how to do it yourself. And you can also explain that, this doesn't mean I don't love you, that I don't care about you. I really do. But that, I want to convey to you, I want to help you to feel confident in yourself, to be able to respect yourself. And so that's a way that you can kind of say no to someone else without shutting them off. And we don't want to use boundaries to shut people off. We want to use boundaries as a way of respecting ourselves and as a way of respecting them so that we can continue in relationship with them, in a healthy relationship. And then a second thing that we want to do with being able to have healthy boundaries with people is to yield to God. And when we see others kind of wandering around in their lives, trying to figure their lives out, it can be tempting to come alongside and take that backpack from them and smooth it all out. But we have to allow God to work in their lives. We have to believe that He cares for them more than we do, and that He is going to guide them, and that this learning curve for them is essential for them to be able to grow into the mature and healthy adults that God wants them to become. So there is that yielding, and that trusting God in those areas can be tough. It really can. And part of your way of coping with anxiety may be to jump in and to kind of get things all in order and create some, what feels like order out of chaos. And that would be understandable, right? Because that would feel good. And seeing chaos go on does not feel good. But we don't want this to continue so that we end up taking other people's backpacks from them and inserting our own beliefs for them. And I forgot to mention also that one reason why we tend to reach into other people's backpacks and give them advice or do things for them that they haven't asked us to do, give advice when they haven't asked for it, is because of our own expertise sometimes and our own enthusiasm for things. And I think some examples for this can be, for instance, if you've been studying about eating healthy and you're seeing change in your life, and it is so easy when you see other people struggle or other people wandering around trying to figure that out, to want to tell them all about it and what they should be doing and what supplements they should be eating and what foods they should be eating. But, you don't know all that goes on in their lives. And just because that worked for you doesn't mean it will work so well for them. And we can tell them of the success that we've had, and ask, if they would like to know more about that. Then we can tell them. And we always want to wait until someone is ready to receive. Otherwise, this is going to be an offense to them, and it's going to be a waste of time, and it puts pressure on the relationship for them to feel like they have to bend to how we think they should be living life in order for them to be acceptable to us. And that certainly is not a healthy relationship, is it? Or another example can be if you have lost, you've lost 30 pounds and, you finally found something that works for you, then you will want to tell others, hey, here's what you can be doing. And those same principles are going to apply. A third example can be grandparents. And we've, as grandparents, we've gotten to a place where we have seen the mistakes that we have made, and we knew maybe some of the, the good that we did also, and we see what our children are doing, and you really just want to step right in there, don't you? And tell them, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, don't do this, don't do that. And then the result for them is then they can feel either they will be offended or they will be hurt. They will feel rejected by you. They will feel like you're not respecting them, certainly, because you're not. And so you can offer, you can say, well, I see that you're struggling with this. I had those same struggles when I was raising you. Would you like to know what I tried? And then they can let you know if they would like some help with that. But then again, you want to be aware of that your own internal struggle of, what is that anxiety within you when you see your grandchildren kind of going wild, and, how are you going to handle that? What is your pattern of handling that internal anxiety? And that's where your place of control is what goes on inside of you. Your control is not in reaching into other people's lives and straightening that out for them. And again, I know it's tough, it really is, but let's see, where was I going to go with that? So, we want to respect ourselves, respect others, we want to yield to God, and we also want to be aware of what is going on within us. Even when someone is trying to give us their backpack, and it's hard for you to say no. And if you've come from a background of abuse, neglect, or chaos, you probably have learned to ignore those internal signals that tell you that something is wrong. And that would be understandable because it probably wasn't acceptable when you were growing up. They could have been frowned upon, or it could have been, if you stated your own emotional needs, then you were called a baby or being selfish. And so now you have learned to ignore those. So that is going to make it difficult for you to be able to say no to others and to have healthy boundaries with them. So that is some healing that you can pursue for yourself. It's actually one of the main thing that we are working on in my private community, is to looking at patterns of how we handle emotions and how they are, and becoming aware of our emotions and how they impact us, and then how they're impacting our relationships, and of course how to change that. For you, what I have to offer today is a free PDF guide of just 50 examples of what healthy boundaries look like, and so it also includes words that you can use in order to set healthy boundaries and to recognize them. I have a link in this post, and along with this video, that you can click on that and you can get that free resource for yourself. Well, that's it for today. Let me know in the comments if this has been helpful for you, or if you have any further questions. Have a good day.